Regional terms describe different areas of the body. They can describe the entirety of that area, or they can describe things within that area. For example, bones, muscles, ligaments, joints, nerves, etc. This is a list of the terms that I would like you to know for different regions of the body. These terms can be found defined and with pictures on page 26 of your textbook. There are more terms in your textbook than are on this list, so these are the ones that you are responsible for. This is a diagram from your text that has all of the terms, but the ones that I would like you to know from the list on the previous slide are highlighted in blue. You can get the definitions from your textbook or from this screencast. You can find them on the internet, but I would be very, very careful when looking on the internet because they may have different meanings in different contexts. Make sure that you're looking for the medical or the anatomical context, and that's why your book or this screencast would be most helpful. We'll start at the top of the body and review them one by one or in little groups. Cephalic means head. Within the head, there are different parts of different regions that I'd like you to know. Frontal refers to the forehead. Your frontal bone is the part of your skull that makes up your forehead. Orbital refers to the eye cavity. So this is the bony part and the hole, your orbit. It is not the eyeball itself, that is ocular. Anything that has to do with actually seeing is ocular, but that space that the eyeball sits in is your orbital cavity. Nasal refers to your nose. Oral refers to your mouth. Occipital refers to the back of the head, usually talking about the lower part of the back of your head. Moving down, your neck is the cervical region. Females do also have a cervix as part of the reproductive system. Cervical is used to describe that region as well. However, in the course of this, the context of this course, we'll use cervical to talk about the neck. Pectoral is your chest. Axillary refers to the area around your armpit. Your armpit itself is the axilla. Brachial refers to the arm, specifically the upper arm. Antebrachial is the lower part of your arm or the forearm, and so that's why when we're talking about brachial, we usually mean the upper arm, even though it just says arm. You'll find your biceps and triceps brachii are in the brachial region. That's highlighted there in your upper arm. And you'll also find your brachial pulse there. Costal refers to your ribs. Your intercostal muscles sit between your ribs. Umbilical refers to the navel or the belly button. Abdominal is the whole region of your abdomen. We're talking your muscles as well as the internal cavity. Inguinal refers to the groin. An inguinal hernia is a common hernia, and that's where it occurs in that little area that it's pointing to. When we move to the back, we're mostly talking about, when we use dorsal, we're talking about the back as a whole. When we use vertebral, we're just talking about the spinal column, right down the middle, the bony part with discs and nerves. So vertebral is referring to the spinal column, whereas dorsal is referring to the whole back. Lumbar is another specific area of the back, and we're talking about your lower back in this area. Back to the arm and hand, your cubital region is your elbow. Carpal is your wrist. Palmar is the palm of your hand. And digital means fingers. It also means toes. We're referring to your digits. If we move to the lower limbs, gluteal refers to the buttocks. We'll have your gluteus maximus, minimus, and medius, which are 3 different muscles. Femoral refers to the thigh or the upper part of your leg. Patellar is the front of your knee. Your patella is your kneecap, so patellar is the front of your knee, where popliteal or popliteal is the region that is the back of the knee. Finally, moving into the foot and ankle, your tarsal region is your ankle. Your pedal region is your foot. Your pedal pulse can be found on the top of your foot. Calcaneal region is your heel. The plantar region is the bottom of your foot, your sole, the part that you walk on. That's why they're called plantar warts if you get them on the bottom of your feet. And lastly, as I already mentioned, digital refers to the toes as well as to the fingers. So these are the regions of the body that I would like you to know, as well as some little ways to distinguish between some of them and some things that are a little bit more specific than the definitions that are on this diagram. Again, for definitions, you can use this screencast, you can use your textbook, or being very careful, you can use a medical dictionary, not just Google.